So then I started to see people kind of burning out, and I didn't know why.
When you say work energizes you, like I have the same feeling. Like I get to do what I get to do, right?
I think if you understand your purpose and you have a strong mission and strong personal core values, then you can keep it all together. And I think that's how I would define success, is having a good mix of all those things. You can't really have one without the other.
Okay, if that's your goal, let's make it happen.
Sure.
Right? So let's sit down. What do you want from me? What can I give you? I'll give you all my tools. I want everybody to win.
Yeah.
Welcome to Our Purpose Podcast, a podcast where stories from skilled nursing and long-term care come to life. I'm your co-host, Kip Kruger, a voice shaped by industry experience and a belief that everyone has a purpose and their story is worth telling. Got another exceptionally exciting episode today. I want to introduce our guys first. James Dieter, hello to you.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. And the light of the world. Someone told me, I really like when you introduce Chris Light that way, so I had to do it.
Sticks.
All right, man. Caffeinated and I'm ready to go.
Got the Celsius, baby. All right. Well, today we have the 2025 HMG Administrator of the Year.
Kudos.
Fancy.
Thank you.
We got a 5-star facility, rocking and rolling. One thing that I want to probably talk about before I introduce our guest, this young lady reached out to me and was like, hey, I love the podcast. I believe that I have a story worth telling.
Awesome.
So she reached out to me. I was like, I want to be on it. Shout out to Christian. She does appreciate the conversation and the podcast that you did. But after Christian's podcast, she's like, hey, I want to get on there. I want to talk. I'm excited to introduce Crystal Quintero today. We are going to have an exciting conversation. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate you taking me in.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for reaching out. That was nice. We posted. So anyone out there listening, if you want to jump on our podcast, reach out to us. We're happy to have you. Happy to have the conversation today. Give us a backstory. Give us an intro of Miss Crystal.
All right. So skilled nursing is pretty much it's been in my life forever, my whole life. I started my career in 2005. I was a CNA in high school and walked into a skilled nursing facility thinking I want to be a nurse. Yeah. And so walked in, and shortly living it, I noticed that there was such huge opportunities in order, for the residents and for the staff. A lot of people unhappy. That's what I experienced.
So basically hated it.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Who wants to do this? And so I could have left, but I didn't. I became a med aide, stayed there for 4 years. And I decided, what am I going to do? Because I don't want to live this life, right?
Sure.
So what am I going to do? So started talking to some of the therapy team and realized that, they got a lot of one-on-one time with patients. And I thought that would be something I enjoyed. So ended up going to CODA school. So,
nice.
Yep. So did that. And then after that, I was thinking, I hate skilled nursing, not going to do that. And so went into pediatrics. Did pediatric home health for about 2 years as a therapist. And then I realized 2 years in, I was miserable. I was like, I miss skilled nursing. Yeah. What was I thinking?
It's not so bad after all.
Yeah. That's my life. That's what that's where my passion is. So I came back in as a therapist, and a few years I ended up stepping into the rehab director role. And so in 2012 is when I stepped back in, and I was there at that facility for about 10 years. So that ran right into the COVID era.
Yeah.
And so during that time, I was the rehab director. I was doing my master's degree. And then I got an opportunity to become the AIT at that facility.
Nice.
So I stepped right into that and tried to be of as much assistance as I could during the hard times of COVID. And realized quickly it was just natural. This is what I loved. It was just, there was nothing else to it. And in 2021, so right after when COVID was starting to finally come to an end, I got an opportunity to take on a building of my own. And so I stepped right in and was like, this is what I love. And so
Never turned back.
never turned back.
Are you at the same building?
I'm still at the same building.
Wow.
I am.
That's awesome. Talk to me about your AIT journey. I want to touch on a little bit about that. How long was your AIT journey?
Yeah, so because I had been in a rehab director role, I didn't have to do the whole 1,000 hours. I only had to do 500.
Nice.
But which helped me because I was able to kind of span that out since I was also the rehab director at this facility at the same time. So I did that, and it was actually with Wayne Culp's son, John Culp. So, which was really great because he really, valued that role, like under teaching me, even though COVID was happening. I owe a lot to him giving me a good foundation.
Sure.
And so he would go through all the departments. He went through all the financials. He really gave me a great foundation to start. So, it was good.
Do you feel like your AIT program and experience helped you become the administrator you are today?
For sure. I feel like having that firm foundation is so important, learning those things, because once you get into it, you're kind of learning by trial and error, and, it's like by fire. You're just like there, and then you're like, got to run 1,000,000 miles an hour. But when you're in an AIT, you can kind of step back a little bit and really take it all in. And so you just got to optimize that time while you're in it.
I want to bring James in on this one. I want to talk about a little bit of leadership, about promoting from within. Sure. I know that he reached out. Did John reach out to you, or did you reach out to John?
I can't remember. I think we just talked naturally because I was the rehab director, so it would be in a lot of meetings. And he kind of was just asking me what my goals were and what was I doing. So just kind of took an interest in knowing what I was doing. And I remember that I told him I was getting my master's degree in healthcare administration. And then that's when he said, well, you do know all of those classes align up with long-term care administrator that you're taking. And I was like, oh, I didn't.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, I didn't really know that. I was doing it for fun, to be honest. I like to learn, so I was just really seeking some just learning opportunities.
Holy cow.
And then that's when he told me that, I was like, oh, well, okay, let's do it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, James and Chris, as you have employees who may or may not be in the position that they are today, when you're promoting from within, what are some of the leadership qualities that you look for in order to promote from within and have those conversations like she had?
What stands out to me is that you had an interest in continuing to learn. I think that can't be replaced. We always think about, you can train someone tactically to do a job, but they have to have a desire to want to move on and move forward. The fact you were going to school, you're getting an MBA for fun. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a special kind of person.
Sure.
So we're going to latch on to someone like that and say, this is interesting. What can you bring forward to my organization? We were going to try to keep you around. That makes sense. But I'd be curious, what do you think they saw in you where they wanted to invest that time and interest in your future with the organization?
Yeah. Well, I think that for me, it was probably my work ethic. I would assume because, it's COVID happening. I'm a rehab director, and I was seeing all of the struggles of COVID during that time. So it was just natural to help people, right? So I seen the we're trying to juggle this COVID unit in the back, and then we're trying to do all these things. So it was just natural to say, let's do it.
Was the staffing, when you say the struggles of COVID, I always want to double click on that. What exactly were the struggles of COVID for you?
Yeah. So I would say, the isolation piece. So, the fact that the hallways were blocked off, and so you couldn't really communicate as good with them. Also, just the compliance piece, getting people to make sure they were wearing the PPE like they should, and all of those things. And just trying to make sure we're still taking care of people. Yeah. I think that was a huge struggle. And so the way that I saw it then was the way I could help was I could have my team. I impacted my team, and I knew that my team, half of my team was in that unit. Yeah. So I could utilize them in order to make sure patients were being taken care of. And, so whatever piece I could help with that to make sure that people were taken care of, that's just what I wanted to do.
I do think that you made a really good point. The isolation piece for COVID was absolutely just extremely difficult. on top of whenever someone when someone got COVID, a staff couldn't work at all. And then they said, okay, now you can come back and you can work just on this unit if you have COVID. And so to have basically you're running two different facilities. In one facility, you had zero access to. You couldn't get back there. If you did, you were gowning up, donning and doffing on top of the survey process. But I think just a culmination of like staffing and the isolation that they forced us to do made it extremely difficult during COVID.
Yeah.
Really, it really was. It was so hard. And, I think that also like your calmness during that time, like, yes, it's chaotic, but if you can bring a sense of calm to kind of help people feel like it's going to be okay, I think that was a piece that was kind of natural for me. So to be able to just like help him keep the calm in the building.
And I think a part of the managing the chaos was everyone was testing all the time. So you're testing nonstop. People were popping positive. You had it. You didn't have it in the facility. Then it was spread throughout the facility. You had to test all it. Managing that chaos.
Yeah.
Was an extremely difficult part of the job. How has your experience managing chaos set you up for success of winning the 2025 award for HMG Administrator of the Year?
You mean during COVID or just
how is COVID? Yeah, how is COVID? What did COVID teach you in order to propel you for where you're at today?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that going through I was an AIT and during COVID. So I didn't know what life was as an administrator prior to COVID. I didn't know that. So all I knew was this is what it looks like. So once we were coming out of COVID, it was like I was already trained to work as going 100 miles an hour. Yeah. And so that was kind of, and I think that, so that like momentum didn't end.
Yep.
I got into, and then it's like, okay, COVID ends. So where am I going to direct that energy? So it just got directed really into all the details of the facility.
That's a really cool perspective because most administrators experienced COVID pre-COVID and then during COVID. And there was a very big challenge of administrators bridging that gap of actually like accelerating, because you had to accelerate super fast.
Yep.
And some of the administrators were a little bit older and they couldn't accelerate and get up to speed for COVID because the regulations were changing every Friday. Like it was multiple times a week. So that was really difficult. It's pretty cool to see your perspective of like, you didn't know what life was before COVID, but you knew COVID and post-COVID. What is it like today?
So, oh my goodness, COVID is gone. It's gone. So you can't operate like COVID. And that was my first thing when I first came into the building, which was right after COVID. I'm just very big on, you have a problem, let's find the solution. Like, let's get out of this, right? So as soon as they were uplifting some of these, requirements they had on us in skilled nursing, I immediately was like, okay, that's it. Like, I was the first one to be like, okay, they can come out the room. Yep, everybody out the room. Yeah. Like, I was just so excited to get people to be able to live life again. Yeah. That's what we did. And so I think that's taken in, some facilities, it's taken a lot of people to kind of get out of what they would call that COVID rut. Yeah. But I was just I came in it with like, no, let's get out of it now. Like, I don't want this. So I think and that's kind of what I've done the whole time that I've been there. So for the last 4 years is like we're not even talking about COVID. Like, we are, we're going to live our life.
As long as COVID was here, which was for years, it's been longer that it's been gone. Yeah. Right. So it was a while ago now, but so it sounds like you came in, you had to really ramp up. Really, that's all you knew. You carried your momentum out of the COVID era into the post-COVID era. You're having tremendous success. Yeah. What do you continue to do with that momentum moving forward?
Yeah, so my goals are really just to keep spreading this, right? So I love to influence people and positively influence people. And so I've had a lot of great successes in that. And seeing that, like I said, I take that momentum and really it's just like leading people so they can have the same momentum that I have. And so watching that play out, in real life is really cool to see. So, I've had some really great successes with a lot of like promotions in the facility. had charge nurses, moved to MDS. I have a CNA who's central supplies. Now I had her do admissions, now business office,
Good
and
for you.
she's my backup.
That's awesome.
And so, I mean, I have my DON. Yeah, I just promoted her to be a CSD. So had the first HMGU graduate. So she naturally moved into ADON, and now she's my DON. So, some of those things, I think that it's just how we influence people, and you just can't lose that momentum. You just got to keep going, and, your feelings and like the struggles and all of that, you got to kind of just tough it up and just continue to focus on like what the purpose is.
Yeah.
And so if you can do that, then you don't lose the momentum.
You're like a force.
Thank you.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome. Like we started with this was like how you got here. I'm like, it's pretty simple how we got here. Like just talk to you for 5 minutes. Like, no, I mean, being dead serious. One of the things that we talk about a lot, and you've already kind of mentioned this a couple times, so I wrote it down. I just want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But we spend a lot of time with our teams on just speed of operations. And we will live and die on this, that we move fast. Like this is what we do. We will beat people with speed. We'll make some mistakes. We'll correct them. But like we are fast. We make decisions like this and we just go. And you kind of strike me as someone who's like, I can tell we have a lot of parallel thinking, but it's, what's the problem? What's the solution? And so how do you roll that out and keep people in the building, I guess, at an energy level that you have, but also because you can run people over, right?
Yeah.
And you can kind of tire people out. And so how do you handle that with your teams, keeping that high energy, high effort, maximum output? Like, hey, thanks, put some dirt on it effectively, right?
Yes.
And so
yes. Well, so there's a few things to that. So one of those things is, again, like we talked about, influencing people. So if you show up every day and you display that, I'm a go-getter. I don't say it. I'm not asking them to do it. I'm showing you, right?
Yeah.
Like, so when you display that, naturally people copy you,
Sure.
right? So I think that's the piece of it, is that you have to, and so it's my responsibility to show up every day and give 110, and then that way that they'll know where to go from that, right? I think another piece of that to keep people like in line is, I'm constantly motivating people, and leadership is like, I study leadership. Like, I mean, that's just what I do, right? I read all the books, right? And so I think that I want to show up as the best person to teach them those things, and that helps them want to as well, right? And so I think also, you don't want to burn them out, because yes, you're right. That was, honestly, that's one of my things I had to work on, was I can run at 110 nonstop, and not that I expected other people to. I didn't expect them to, but I did, because I was doing it, they were copying me.
Yeah.
So when I started to see people kind of burning out, and I didn't know why. And so I had to self-reflect, and and that was actually my goal for 2025, was to work on work-life balance better. Like Crystal, you said, an alarm clock, you need to leave at this time, because I will get stuck there just in, in this world. And I didn't want that for them. And so I think that me displaying that, and then acknowledging it, telling them I acknowledge I'm burning them out, I'm sorry, and that I want to do better, and I want them to do better, and then helping them do better, right? Sure. So it's, hey, you have time off, like, when you taking it, right? And then when they're gone, it's like, as the past me, I'm going 24/7. I'll forget they're on vacation, and I'll be messaging them, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, right? And so it's just being more intentional about that. Hey, no, y'all, do not call them. They're on vacation, right? And so even, I told y'all I just came back from New York, and even when I was gone, I got no phone calls.
it's impressive.
And I was, I'm like, they're not calling me, right?
Cool.
But it was funny, because as soon as I got back, they were like, yep, we handled this, we handled that. And all these things could have waited. So we waited till you got back, because we wanted to tell you this, So
Dude,
just
that's cool.
displaying it.
That's true empowerment. That's true leadership, of empowering others to make decisions like in your absence.
Yeah.
How do you stay energized?
Okay, so I honestly, I think work energizes me. That's bad, but that's who I am.
I mean, it could be it's your purpose.
Yeah, I love it. And so, I always tell people that when I'm at the building, our job as an administrator is to take care of people, right? Like that's our job. So when I'm there, it's like I'm talking to the staff, talking to the patients, talking to the families, doing all these things, right? And then I go home. Well, now my hobby starts. I get to dig into the data.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, like,
part of the job.
that's the fun part, right? So that's what I do. I'm gonna see all the trends, the tracking and the trend. And I'm like, oh my God, look what happened. And so I think that drives me. Also, of course, I would say what keeps me, I guess, helps me with that is, I have a best friend, obviously. She's also the VP of Learning and Talent for our company.
Nice.
So that doesn't, I have some, outlet there.
Yeah.
And of course, family, prayer, family, I want to make sure that I'm staying aligned in all the aspects. So
I'm going to touch on a couple points. You mentioned just how everyone watches you and they kind of get their energy from you. And I heard a creed about 22, I was thinking about it must have been 22, 23 years ago. And it was, a person is worthy of emulation as long as their goals remain just beyond their grasp. And the purpose of that is, you got to kind of keep moving the goalposts. If you're actually, the minute that you actually attain what we're reaching for, that's when we all lose interest, we lose energy. It's really the journey in grabbing, right? So as you continue to move the goalpost out there, how do you not burn those out around you? How do you continue to find that energy for yourself? And you've touched on it a little bit, but I'm interested if you have a perspective on this.
Yeah. So, that's a great point because honestly, that is a struggle because I'm so fast moving with my goals that it's like, okay, I want it to make $2 million. Okay, I made that. What am I going to do now? Right. So it's like, I want to have this clinical performance metric. Oh, we did it. What are we doing now? Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I do struggle with stopping for a minute and just appreciating how far we've came because I get, I get so fixated on, okay, like let's do the next thing. Right. And so that's hard for me. But I think that, celebrating those wins and making an intentional effort to stop and say, hey, y'all did a really great job.
Yeah.
And, these things. So I try to make a point to doing that because if not, I will move right past those things. And so, so I think that stopping for a minute is the most important thing. So even we had a deficiency-free survey, in 2024. And, I asked the team, I said, before it happened, I said, if we end up with a deficiency-free survey, guys, what would y'all want? I want to give y'all an award. What would y'all like? And they said, well, we want to go to the Astros game. I said, okay. So it took a whole management team. We all went to the Astros game after.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And so, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever you want. But, and I think that is the piece where you don't burn out is when you find that purpose, essentially, right? And you're doing it so intentionally and really celebrating the wins. And, that will drive you. You're just like, this is amazing. Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give administrators, new administrators, in talking about the burnout piece, talking about celebrating the wins, slowing down, making sure that you recognize and acknowledge people for the job that they do? What type of advice would you give administrators now?
I actually get this question often, but I usually tell people that you just really have to remember why you're doing this, right? That is so when you get into it, everyone knows that skilled nursing is not the easiest thing. But if you remember your why behind it, then, you'll be okay, right? And so I think that sometimes administrators, they get into the role and it can go real fast. It can be real taxing. It can, there's all these expectations and then, everything's kind of coming down on you. And I think that when that happens, you're so busy and managing the day-to-day, those things, that you really forget the purpose behind it. And then your actions and your words start to show that.
Yeah.
So it's, my biggest advice is don't forget why you're doing this. Because if you can remain focused on that mission, then you're going to be happy every single day.
I know Chris will have a good answer to this question. How do you find your why?
Honestly, I think you touched on it. I think when you say work energizes you, I have the same feeling. I get to do what I get to do, right? I don't have to do it. I could go do something else. And I think when you feel like that, you will just do things, work harder, work longer, work smarter, all the things that you need to do to effectively, we can say, beat competition or have the best scoreboard, whatever it is, right? And I think if you're lucky enough to find that or to search for it and you get it, then I think that it's self-solving for me. Like, I don't think about it like I have to do this for this reason. I'm like, I enjoy building companies. I enjoy building people. I enjoy leadership. Like, I mean, these are things that are like, I gravitate to them. So it's like, it just, to me, it kind of comes from that standpoint.
James, does a person have to find their purpose before they are successful?
I think it helps.
Right.
I don't think, I mean, what is successful? I mean, I think, there's different ways to define what success is. But at the end of the day, for someone, we've all met lots of people who are incredibly wealthy but miserable.
Sure.
You can be incredibly successful in business, but your kids hate you and you're divorced. You can, I mean, there's lots of that. I think if you understand your purpose and you have a strong mission and you have strong personal core values, then you can keep it all together. And I think that's how I would define success, is having a good mix of all those things. You can't really have one without the other. I mean, even if you have your family loves you, but you're living in the backseat of your car, that's also not successful. Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of have to have a nice blend of those things where you figure out what that is. But ultimately, it's different for different people, have different measures of success and what that looks like. So,
whenever you're talking about the why, and it really strikes me because I've met people who tell me, administrators, I have friends who are like, man, money drives me. That's my why. I'm making money, right? Yep. Like that's where, and I'm like, I don't understand that. I can't relate to this, right? And so it's just funny because I think that understanding that why and really making that why really purposeful for you and meaningful. Because one thing people tell me, they're like, oh man, Crystal, you must be super competitive. Like, you're always like, we want to beat you. And like, they say, and so every time I get that, someone call me and I'm like, well, what's your goal? Like, what are you wanting? And they tell me, they're like, well, I want to beat you. That's my goal. And I'm like, okay.
Sure, here's the playbook.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, okay. Well, so my response is always, okay, if that's your goal, let's make it happen.
Sure.
Right. So let's sit down. What do you want from me? What can I give you? I'll give you all my tools. Yeah. Right. And so my why, so a lot of people are like, oh, you did that. Your why is because you want to beat everybody. No, it's not at all. Like, I want everybody to win.
Yeah, sure.
And so, no, like it's just about taking care of the people, and even the people that are my competitors, like I want to take care of you too.
Yeah.
How do you intentionally build like a good culture in your facility? I know that's super important. Specifically, when I was administrator, I spent a lot of time on culture.
Yeah.
How do you build good culture inside a facility?
So to build a good culture, it's really about your leadership. It's leadership, essentially. So the culture's poor, it's probably poor leadership, and why? It's like, how do you do that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's intention. So every single day you come in, you have a smile on your face, good morning, how's your day, how's your kids, whatever it is, right? Like you're talking to the people. To build that culture, you have to display that, and you will see that happen, right? Okay. So like for me, when I walk in, like this morning, I was real tired, right? Super transparent. Walked into the building this morning and I was like trying to get to the bathroom. And before I could even get to the bathroom, 4 people stopped me. Hey, good morning, Crystal. And I'm like laughing at myself because I'm usually that person. But I was tired this morning. And so, but to see, that's in the moments I get to see that it's paying off. That more every day that I do it. But then this morning I didn't, and they were like, they had me, right? And so I think that to build a good culture, you want to be seen, you want to be valued, you want to be heard, all those things. So there's a lot that goes with that. A part of that is, I can tell you, Kip, like, this is how I'm feeling about this, because feelings are such a big part of how, if you feel valued, right? So you can tell me that. But as a leader, if I don't act on those things, then it's pointless and it actually loses trust, right? So if you as an employee come to me and say, Crystal, I'm feeling this way, I have to act on it, right? Yeah. And so that's how you build the trust, right? And then the more that you display those things, the more that they're going to display those, right? Yeah. And then also, I think something that builds a really great culture is welcoming challenging you, right? Like welcoming the, let them trust that it's okay for you to say, hey, I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because I'm human too,
Sure.
right? And so I think that's how you build a culture, right? Is that, hey, my team will come to me and I'll give them a directive. Hey, look, we're going to do X. And they'll say, but I think you could do Y and it'd be better. And I'm like, okay, we'll try it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. So I think that is how you build a culture. And then what happens is that I have 100 residents plus 100 plus employees. So can I physically touch every single one and talk to them? I don't get to as much as I would like, right? But what happens is it trickles down. So as soon as you display these skills and you are treating people, making sure they're being seen, they're valued, and they're heard, then that group of people learn. And then it trickles down.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, now your line staff is treating those residents like they're seen and valued and heard.
Yep.
Right? Like that's it.
I think there's this famous quote. I think it's from Mary Kay. I'll butcher it, but it's like everyone's walking around with a charm on their necklace that says "Make me feel good today."
Yeah.
Like everybody, every human, you know. And so part of doing that is making people seen and heard, and hoping that they'll spread that as well.
Yeah, and it's individual because every person has a thing that makes them tick, right? Yeah. And I know we say it, but I say this because we say it as leaders, right? I'm the administrator and I'm telling you this. I could be the CEO and say this, but are you actually doing the actions that are matching what you're saying?
Sure.
Right? So that is what really matters, not that you know the right thing to say.
You brought up a couple of points here. One is, and I'm trying to really recall the quote, like you just said. It's hard to remember everything, but culture really isn't matching what you say at the top or even what you do at the top. It's what you tolerate at the bottom, right? So, I mean, the actions of what you're trying to accomplish really match up with what you're willing to tolerate and what you're willing to look for at the bottom. It's, there's always a couple people doing the right thing, and that doesn't resonate as much as it does if a few people do something wrong or doesn't match the culture. So how do you feel just about, and really that goes on to elimination, right? How do you feel about eliminating people that don't match your culture?
Yeah, so that's a huge piece because if you don't have the right people and if you do tolerate those people that are toxic to your environment, one bad seed will ruin the whole bad. What's that say? Help me out.
One bad apple ruins the whole bushel.
One bad seed will ruin the whole bunch. I don't know, something
what
like
is
that.
it?
I think it's one bad seed will ruin the batch, right?
I can't remember, but that,
All correct. All correct.
But it's so true because and when it comes to that, I could probably name how many times I've had to terminate somebody because it's that few. Because my goal is never to get rid of people, it's to help them grow as a person.
Yeah.
So it always starts with, okay, as soon as you notice it, you need to act ASAP. Don't wait, don't let it linger, and have that crucial conversation. Hey, so I'm noticing this is happening, and why do you think that is? What can I do to help you? We can't do X, so how can we fix it? All of those things. Yep. So I think that's the biggest thing is that I'm going to try to do everything I can, but you have to be really clear about the expectations. And that is, this is my expectation and I can't tolerate X and I want the best for you. I love you as a person. Let's try to fix that. Because if not, then I would have to let you go. And that's not my goal. And I know it's not your goal.
Yeah. Dude, that's super cool. I love the retention piece. Talk to me about these have to parallel. Your staffing and the way that you approach has to parallel, I guess, let me repeat. Your culture and your staffing have to correlate somewhere, somehow. Yeah. How do they parallel, and what's your staffing? How is your staffing now?
Yeah. So staffing, it's probably one of the top things in a facility that's so important. Yeah. You don't have people, you can't run the systems, you're out of luck, right? Yeah. So staffing is just so important. And I think that when it comes to staffing, there's a bunch of pieces to that. And one of them is just like we were talking about accountability. One of the biggest things inside of skilled nursing is, attendance, calling in, being late and all these things. So In order to maintain a positive culture, you have to manage those things, right? Because I sit in every orientation, come to every orientation, and I say the exact same thing to all of them. I say, "Hi, my name is Crystal, and this is my background." Tell them the whole thing, and then I say, I come to every orientation, and the reason is because I want to set my expectations before you even hit the floor.
Yeah.
And I said, so my expectations for you is you show up, you do your best, and you do it with a good attitude.
That's awesome.
And so I let them know. I said, these are 3 things that you can control, right? You have full control over these things. You can't control how other people act. You can't control if they show up. None of that you can control, but you can control you. So my expectation is for you to control you. And I just straight up tell them, so if you have a problem with not coming here, this is not the place for you.
Do you have anybody at that point that's like, this isn't for me? Or within the next 24 hours, they're like,
I mean, it's very rare, but yes, I have.
I would think that some people would go, okay, I'm out.
She's serious. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, sure.
And I take it so serious. And when I so serious that I look at the call-ins as they happen. Like I have a group chat, and that's part of another staffing piece is that we have a staffing group chat, and it has all of our key players in it that is involved with staffing. And so as soon as a call-in comes in, their task is to put that into that group chat. So that way we all know we all know. And so then the next step is for them to say, what's the replacement, right? Like, okay, what's the solution, right? And so, and you have to manage that so tightly, because if you leave your staff short-staffed, now you're about to decrease the happiness of your staff.
Sure.
And if you let these people just call in and not show up, you're gonna have unhappy staff. So I let them know I work at a facility where I want the top of the top. So if you can do that, you're on my team, right? But if you can't, I can definitely give you a couple facilities that you could probably go see.
Love it. Yeah. As an administrator, I had my facts, and they were literally facts. I wanted everyone to have fun. I wanted everyone to have a positive attitude. I wanted everyone to have compassion, like true compassion, true teamwork, and great service. And I said the exact same thing in orientation. Good job for you. But I think that's so important as an administrator, like setting your expectations early and often and in orientation.
Absolutely.
And I think when you do that, it creates success in the future.
So,
absolutely.
Hey, let's go deeper here.
Yeah.
So you get a group text, and I'm assuming you're getting call outs on a daily basis with 100 employees. It's not like once in a while. And so what does the bench look like? How do you all handle that? Or is that leadership stepping in? It's a real challenge for us as well, primarily in the mobile teams, but also in the lab, it can be a challenge too. But anywhere, no one's running. You guys aren't either. You manage the P&L. You're not like, hey, give me 15 extra employees so I can cover myself. And so what does the strategy look like when that happens to make sure that you're
staffed and covering? Yeah. So we have a couple different ways. So we use a platform, obviously, that if they need a day off, or if they're wanting to, they can what we call post their shift. And so they will post their shift, and then someone else will say, hey, I'll pick it up for you.
Do you allow overtime?
No.
Okay. I just had it.
Sorry, I'm an operator.
Great.
Sorry.
No chance. No chance.
I was just curious.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
She's insulted.
Well, that becomes more of a swap. It's
Ask
perfect.
The owner. He'll tell you. No, you can't.
Okay.
You're right. And that's where you have to manage it from them. So in order for them to pick up that shift, someone has to go approve that, right? Okay. And so that's my staffing coordinator. He'll go and if they're not going to be in overtime, okay, I can prove it. If not, then he'll say, okay, I can clearly see that they want the day off. So we already know, instead of waiting for the call in, you got to be proactive instead of reactive. So, okay, they want a day off. They have something going on. Okay, well, let me go reach out to PR and so-and-so and so-and-so. Hey, so-and-so wants a day off. Could you fill in? Right? So it's literally just like a very detailed process, and your staffing coordinator is leading it, and you just have to make sure that they know your expectations and like how to manage it.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
What about day of stuff? Like that's a common thing for us is like my kid happened and
I
have
happened.
No coverage. Well, and so I am the daycare today.
Yeah. So, well, it depends, right? So like I'm not opposed to having, like you can bring a kid. You want me to watch your kid? You know? Oh, like I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
So
honestly, the residents probably would love that.
yeah. No, I mean it's
As long as
not.
they're not sick,
It's not uncommon that I will
Did it all the
say,
time, yeah.
"Oh, you know what? I have a learning and talent office. We have a baby gate.
Yep.
Get 'em
Just
in
go
here.
put
Yeah,
them
yeah.
in
We
there.
also
and
have
we'll carry
activity.
them."
We have activities. Go put them in activities.
Yeah.
Go call bingo.
Absolutely.
Like there was so many times when that would happen, but the residents love the interaction
I
with
can
the
only
kids.
They
imagine.
love it.
Loved it.
Love
Yeah,
it.
I can
And
only imagine.
so it's not, and that's not something like I said, it's unheard of. It happens. And so you have to figure out a way to not be so stringent with
Yeah.
them because they're human. And you have to think about the population of people you're serving.
Yeah.
These types of people, they may have some difficulties going on in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that I'm not even having to I'm not being challenged with those things. So how can I help you? Like, I mean, hey, Crystal, this person can't come in. Hey, could you pick them up on your way from away to work? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got you. Like, and so, I mean, it's those things that, again, you make them feel valued, but you're also supporting them in a way that you're not going to have all these call-ins or you're not going to have all these things. Yeah. Because again, if your boss came to pick you up, what is the chances you're going to feel real crappy if you have to call in the next week after your boss just went out of their way to pick you up for work, right? So it's just developing those relationships.
I always think too, when you get the opportunity to do that, for example, ride in the same car with someone, it's probably someone you don't interact with a lot, right? And so I've had this experience a handful of times, and sitting here now, as you talk about it, I'm like, maybe we should be facilitating this more often. But you get a bond with someone, or you get like a level of appreciation that is simultaneous, like it's symbiotic.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow, it changes the game from a standpoint of how you interact with these folks. Now, when you see them in the hallway or wherever, it changes it. I never thought about that until now. It's really cool.
The thing is this is kind of funny, but like I would say, no offense to anybody, but the old school way of thinking is like so different than how we have to think about things now, right?
What's the old school way of thinking?
So,
I gotta know.
I mean, it's just very the strenuous, like this is the answer, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, there's no flexibility. It's really rigid. All of those things. Yeah. Like that's not the life we're living in now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the world used to be, there wasn't transparency.
Sure.
For one, I think that's one of the big changes of life is that we're really trying to share everything and why we do things and explain it, and then really we're actually now I'd say it's a kinder world.
Well, so before people, I think that bosses were more apt to just be like, you do X, and then people just did X, right? Like they just expect, and if not, you're in trouble. But like now people want to know why, and they want to understand why you're making me do X. And so I think that you have to take the time to explain that, and because it gives them a purpose and a meaning for doing that X, right? Yep. And so, I mean, I think that you just have to be on point with that. Like you have to be open to doing things differently, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll give you one very cool example. And so one of my unit managers, for example, she's going through this hard time. And, this was a couple years ago. And she was like, Crystal, I'm just really struggling. She was coming late. I bring her in. What's going on with you? Like, what's happening? Like, you're such a great employee. Like, why is this happening? I'm stressed. This is what she's telling me all the life stuff that's happening behind. So I'm like, okay, like, it sounds like you need a vacation. And she's like, well, yeah, but how am I going to go on vacation? So this is crazy, but I am kind of crazy if you know me. Anybody would tell you. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm about to go on vacation. You want to come with me?
Stop it.
Swear to God.
Awesome.
And so, swear to God, sure did. Took her to
James?
New York with me. I did.
I want to go on vacation on plenty of
So
vacations.
the previous time I went to I swear to God, the previous time I went to New York, I took her with me. Her name is Kayla. She's the best. She's a baker, so if you want to buy her cakes.
Let's go.
No, she's the best, but she just needed some time. And so I was going down there to see a Christian artist, and I said, hey, I see you're struggling. I see this is going on. Girl, just come with me.
So cool.
And she said yes.
That's
so we
awesome.
had the whole vacation. So like I said, I just went to New York again, and she came to my office and she said, why didn't you invite me? And I was like, well, I can't take you every time. Some people might think I'm playing favoritism,
That is wild.
That's who I am.
I'm
wild.
What do you? So I would emulate that. Like some of the coolest times that I've had with some of my past team members was when I went to pick them up in my truck during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we were forced to be in a car together for an hour and develop a relationship that I would probably have I would pass along to in the hallway. We'd have a couple of conversations, but we didn't have an hour-long conversation. But that forced us to have an hour-long conversation with each other. And the relationship and the rapport that built, it's game.
Yeah.
I mean, think about through your life, though, and how many times you've been through any type of trials and tribulations. That's where you grow deep with people. Sure. I mean, the hardships of, you think about sports and you think about academics and what you've gone through with different people that have ridden that path with you. And anytime you face adversity and you overcome it with somebody, you're just like, you're my guy now. It's just,
for sure.
It's such a natural part. So if you can emulate that and bring that in, to your point, like, how do you intentionally do that inside of a work environment? It'd be challenging to figure that out, but that's really interesting if we could decode.
I've had bosses tell me in the past, because I'm so unconventional, they'll say you can't be friends with your employees. They'll say that, right? That's an old term. You can't be friends with your employees. And I will argue that 110 times because wouldn't you rather do something for your friend than you would just any old Joe, you know? Right? Yeah. So yes, they're my friend, but because they're my friend, well, now their sense of responsibility to me as a boss is 10 times bigger. Yeah. So you'll know the people that I've formed friendships with, I go to their baby showers. This is all people I work with, right? Yeah. Go to their house. I've stayed the night during the storm at their house. Yeah. You know, these types of things, those people know I care about you as a person and I love you as a person, right? And I'm here for you. But if you don't follow these set of rules, then I'm also your boss and I have to act as your boss, right? So, I mean, one of my managers will say, Crystal's so much funner outside of work than she is at work. And I'm like,
so is Crystal. Crystal's way funner outside of work than inside of work.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. You know, like if you know me, you've seen me, I'm fun. But when I'm in work, it's work. Yeah. Like we're taking care of people.
I think you have to differentiate the two between it's either it's work or it's not work, right? I think there's a fine line between that.
That doesn't mean you can't have fun at work. I'm with you on that. You can have a good time. And if you go back to serving the purpose, if you know why you're here and you work hard at it, it actually is a really good time.
So you've talked a lot about staff, but you've talked little about residents. Are you taking care of residents or are you taking care of staff? What are you doing?
We take care of people. Yeah, all of them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is that a different mindset, though? Or are you focused more on your staff than you are your residents? Or is it like, hey, I'm going to take care of these staff so they can take care of my residents?
For sure. I think that I'm obviously always there for the residents. And if the patient wants to talk to me, I mean, if a family or a patient says the words, I want to speak to Crystal, that means something serious has happened. Yeah. Because my team I've led them in such a way that, I mean, they're the experts, not me. They know the answer way better than Crystal does, right? And so by the time a resident or family gets to them, they're giving them everything. I mean, their answer is going to be 10 times better than my answer. Yeah. So if they have to come talk to me about that issue, then we know it's like they couldn't get through to, you know, but it's far and few because, I mean, my team just, they're experts in their areas.
So advice to administrators, how do you empower your staff to handle business and issues that arise before they get to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, go back to leadership. So that's exactly what it is. So we talk about those things. So like I said, I'm constantly just filling my management team with how do we do this? You know, I may see something online and I'm like, oh, look, conflict management. And I'll send it to them. Like, oh my God, look at this. And I'll send it to them. And then we talk about it too. You know, we're like, when a morning meeting is a time when my team will tell you, you never know what Crystal's about to say. You never know what I'm about to do, right? I might be like, okay, guys, so today we're going to talk about conflict management. Okay, so I want you to tell me a conflict that you've had in the last 3 days, and I want you to tell me how you resolved it. Right? Like I put them on the spot like that and they're like, oh my God, you know, but I do this because that's how you build them. Right. Sure. So you can display it, but you also fill them up with all the tools that they need that they can do it. Right. Yeah. And if they get in a challenging situation, you know, I've had times where my DON will say, I know she can handle it, but if she feels like I can't, she'll come and she'll say, Crystal, I need your help on this one. Like this one, I can't, I need your help. okay. So I'll come out there and then I'll display it, right? Like, I'm like, okay, like, tell me your problems. That's number one.
Yeah.
That's number two.
Are you having monthly meetings? Are you how are you connecting with your staff? I know you probably lead by walking around, but how are you connecting with them and like hearing like the same message? How do you get an appropriate, like consistent message to your staff?
Yes, that's good stuff. So we do, back in the day, you'll hear everyone say, well, we do payday in-services in skilled nursing, but then paydays kind of went away because everything became electronic. And so all of those things. Well, I do those, right? And so the way we do those is, yes, they're not coming for a check, but they're coming for this in-service. Yeah. So how can you motivate people to want to show up, right? All kinds of things, like you can give food, but what we do, one big thing we do is that's our time to do recognition. So when they come here, we're feeding them this information, right? Like, what is the mission of HMG? Right? Everyone says it. Yep. What are the core values? Yeah. And so they know every single time. Every morning we say that, by the way. Every morning, morning meeting before we start. What is the mission of HMG?
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
My team is rehearsed to the T. Like the mission of HMG is to take care of people. Like it literally.
Hang on, someone get a phone. Let's call a building.
The mission of HMG.
That would be so cool. We should do that.
And
but
so,
put them on the spot. What's the mission?
For real. I'm not even joking.
Call them right now.
No, come on.
No, I can't. I have my phone on me.
Move along.
Yeah. So. But they know it because of that. They can tell you the values, so the core values, so the 5 core, they'll tell you them because we do it every morning. But in the in-services, we're feeding them the information we know. Like, okay, guys, let's make sure we're knocking on doors. Like, the things that we may have seen that we need to talk to them about. But that's not the biggest focus. The biggest focus is on the positivity. Like, no one's going to come to this in-service if you're just beating them down, right? So we address those things in real time, in real moments, like, hey, let's fix this now. That's meant to pour into them, right? So we do something called like they call them poker chips, which is like, a Mad Genius poker chip. You did something good, this is what you get, right? So in real time, when someone says, we just hear something, like they'll say, hey, so-and-so, man, they were so good yesterday. This is what they did. And man, they're amazing, right? And I'm like, poker chip, like, right? Yeah. So every time we hear that, I'm like, poker chip. I'm not even joking. I'm probably like 3rd highest usage of poker chips in the company. But it's because it's so important that they recognize they're getting recognized. Yeah. So, having those, we do those, like I said, every single, and we go over those things. We'll say, so we have a piece of paper, we have everything in the last 2 weeks, that positive things we heard. So congratulations, Susie, so-and-so, it's specific, said that you went over and beyond for her, and she was really appreciative that you did all of these things. Sweet. Everybody claps, And so we go over those every single time. So, so when they show up, it's not just like you're getting beat down. You're not just getting education. You're getting the praise that you need. Birthdays, anniversaries, we go over them then too. Yeah. So just like clockwork.
This is like a 1-hour meeting every 2 weeks where you get the whole building no matter what your shift is to come in.
So
did y'all watch me as an administrator?
Oh my goodness. So the shift thing, the way I battled that was, it's 2026 now. So you can be innovative in that way. So what do you think I did?
Facebook Live.
I have Zoom. Yeah. So we have a Zoom. And hey guys, if you jump on this Zoom and you attend this from start to end, we're going to pay you. We'll pay you for that time.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right? So this is your in-service. You're able to clock in for your in-service. So if you show up on, even if it's on Zoom and you work night shift, I get it, right?
You can get paid.
But you can get paid to do it.
Did you give the ability for the people who work night shift to be on the Zoom? Not that I'm sure you didn't give that to the 6 to 2 people.
No, so only if they're off, because some people may be off that day. Sure. So if you're off, I don't want you to have to go, like, you may live across town, you may not have gas, you may whatever it is. That's okay. As long as you are on there, you're attentive, you're paying attention. I know you're there the whole time. That's all I expect.
I want to keep pulling on this leadership thread. So if you could remove one invisible barrier, right, that administrators create unintentionally for the clinical teams, for the frontline workers, what would that be?
Say that again.
So when I say unintentional barrier, there's a lot of things that I would say are just industry standards.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about how things are changing. Mm-hmm. Do you still have any? Maybe you would say, you know what, we don't have any. We've knocked them all down. But I would say there's these barriers between administrators and clinical.
Oh, that's a great topic. Yeah.
And which one would you remove?
Yeah, so I think that the biggest barrier between administrators and clinical all day, and honestly, this is something I've worked so hard to remove, is the fact that they work so much in silos. Like you have administrators and then you have clinical, and they are like, it's like two people working against each other. Like, no, don't spend the money. I need people. I need stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't spend the money. Right. And so what I think that the way you do this, and this is what I did, is you have to connect. There should be no silos, right? Like we are a team and we're working together, right? So clinical and administrative. And how do you do that? You do that by understanding all the whys behind, right? So, hey, you're saying we need X. Why? You're saying, Crystal, that we can't spend X. Why? Right? So we sit together and we collaborate and we're like, okay, so this is our budget for this, and this is why. Do you think we need more budget? Because when we sit down with projections, we'll ask for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what we need. If that's what, so we communicate, and so it becomes so collaborative that it's kind of funny. But the way that we operate, my DON who just got moved up, and my current DON because she's been with me since I started, is we're so intertwined that she will make operational decisions. And then I will make clinical decisions. And so she'll say, well, that's going to cost. And I said, but is that what's best for the patient? Because we got to take care of people. Right. And so it will happen
It's
like
you're
that.
fighting on the other side.
That's right. It's like,
Where you want to be.
and that is so cool because it's like, we're the opposite. Like she wants to make me happy and I want to make her happy. But at the end of the day, we always say we have to share the same end goal.
Yeah.
Which is to take care of people.
Yeah.
So
you spoke earlier about, allowing everybody in the room to have a voice and, meritocracy effectively, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get there? I guess you have to build trust. I don't want to put words in, but how did you get there?
Yeah. So time, trust, and also being willing to listen. So you can't lead by fear. Like if someone comes to me and they're like, I don't think you're right. And I'm like, nope, you're wrong. Like they're immediately never going to come to me again. Right. So I think that it's admitting me saying, hey guys, I'm wrong. I messed up. Y'all are right. I didn't do this right. So I think when you build that builds the relationship to them knowing that I'm a person too. Yes, I'm an administrator, but I'm a person. I'm not right all the time. And I don't know everything. Right?
Yeah, that takes some vulnerability on your side.
Absolutely.
Do you think that you're kind of at benefit just because of your age or I should say age in the space? I mean, you haven't been doing it as long as some. You're not maybe as the old guard. I mean, we did grow up, I grew up in a world where the doctors were never wrong. They didn't know how to be wrong. Mm-hmm. And nowadays they have first names, which is really interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like that thing is, you can't imagine 20 years ago calling a physician by their first name. And now sometimes they don't allow you to call them by their last name. They say, call me Jim. It's interesting, different times.
I think that for an outsider looking in, maybe an older person, someone's been in the industry longer, could see that and look in and say, well, she's at an advantage because whatever, X, Y, and Z, right? I don't feel that way. And I think it's because we all have the possibilities that everyone else does. Like you may be older, but that doesn't mean you're stuck in your ways. There's training and there's retraining, right? Like, so it's not, if someone is stuck in that mindset in this old school way of thinking and they're unable to adapt to this way, then that's on them because they're not willing to retrain themselves. They're too arrogant or egotistical to think maybe I need to question some things, right? And the same thing goes for me. Like, yes, I'm living in this newer age and I'm, maybe younger than most or whatever it is. But some of the things that y'all were doing, back in the day, they're very effective, right? Like y'all did some really cool stuff. Yeah. And so what can I learn from you and what can you learn from me? So it's just a matter of being aware and intentional and being curious and being willing. And that's it. Like if you can do those things, then you have an advantage. It's not about that.
Yeah, and we've seen we've actually brought some folks on this show that are just have been doing this a long time, and they're just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to me. Have you noticed that all the the administrators and DONs that we've seen so far this year have all been within 3 years of being in that position.
Yeah.
They're all relatively young.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to plug in. Maybe and that could be just a
Well, I mean,
coincidence.
like I said, I started in skilled nursing in 2005, so it's been about 20 years. But again, I've been in many different aspects. So you see things. One thing that's kind of cool is I got to see things in a lot of different lenses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think COVID had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
I think I alluded to it earlier. Like it's the kind of the old school versus the new school. It's completely different mentality, different perspectives. I know COVID burned a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Like it hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I think that we see now in long-term care, we see like this new fresh blood coming in, and then kind of changing the industry, changing the philosophy, putting patients maybe second and staff members first in order to improve patient outcomes and experiences.
Yeah, maybe empowering staff to put patients first.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll offer a different perspective real quick, just because. So I'm a millennial. I think you guys are.
Yeah.
I know you are, but
I am.
are you on the top end of it?
He's
That's
a
messed up.
boomer.
He's a
I'm
boomer?
millennial,
You're-
yes.
Not a boomer.
I just don't look like it.
No, but so,
It's messed up.
and I don't even have to ask you. I know this has happened to you,
Sure.
but I lived growing up as like, I was managing people older than me. Like that's like story of my life is like,
Absolutely.
and so I can recall people saying like, "Oh, millennials don't have work ethic." I'm like, who
Oh,
have
what?
you talked to?
Who have you talked to? Right?
And so now I'm getting into this, like I'm a little bit more seasoned, been doing this a while, and I've had to catch myself saying, "Oh, there's some Gen Z, and they just don't have work ethic," and I'm like. No, we just don't have the right person for the job is what but the perspective that I'm offering to skilled nursing, which I think is real, it's 100% real in our business. It is harder to do business today than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like in our world, for sure. Like if you are operating, it's massively benefited us because we've been able to grow through acquisition and things of people who maybe didn't come with the times as fast.
Sure.
And I think the same thing exists in skilled nursing. So if you're quote unquote old guard, maybe margins look different 20 years ago and you could just do things and you can't do that. You don't get that margin of error anymore in business.
Yeah.
And I think it's not that like, it's just you have to kind of come with that. And there's people that making that adjustment is harder for some than others.
I think I could
Sure.
speak directly on that, like how you can look at like IJs, for instance. We'll touch on that. Like immediate jeopardies 10 years ago were almost non-existent. Like you only got those if you were in an absolute terrible facility. Yeah, terrible.
Absolutely.
Now I got one as an administrator, and I went back-to-back deficiency-free surveys. You've had a deficiency-free survey, and you went back after that. You had an IJ.
Yep.
That the difficulty of going from one extreme to the other, and now everyone getting IJs. I don't know if you can say enough words about the difficulty of managing long-term care with the excess of IJs and penalties in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. And I think it makes it harder. And so I don't think it's
100%.
necessarily like one way is right or wrong. I think it's just that you need better staff. The quality has to rise.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me think of, I know we talked about a little bit, like managing that regulations and what do you do? So, I mean, obviously no one wants an IJ, right? Nobody wants those kind of high tag. Nobody wants any tags, right?
Sure.
And so how do you prevent that, right? Like even when I got the IJ, my first thought was, oh my God, I messed up. And, not my team, like my thought was I messed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I fix this? Right. So what do I need to do? So I immediately, it was an IJ pass non-compliance because I immediately went in. We stayed there till midnight because I was like, no one's leaving until we fix it.
Yep.
Right. So how do we fix it? We fixed it. And then they came in the very next day and was like, oh, okay, well, you get an IJ, but that's right, you move fast. So they were like immediately like, okay, you did everything, pass non-compliance, right? So great, right? So it mitigated it, but we didn't want that to happen.
Sure.
And so I think that I had to ask myself, what did I do wrong? How can I not let this happen again? And I had to see. And so when I did, I was like, okay, well, where did I miss the ball here? And so I'm like, okay, well, a med was missed. So it was the mission checklist. That's the process. That's the system that failed. That med didn't get checked. I'm the person that audits the auditor. I failed to audit the auditor. So now it's my fault. And so how do I make that not happen again? Yeah. So I have a system, right? So even to this day, like that happened then a year, 2 years, whatever, long ago. And now it's like, okay, well, I know that every admission is going to have a checklist and I can see that all the meds were checked and I can go into my electronic file today, right now, and click, and I'm going to see all of that information.
That's good.
Right. And that is for every system and process inside the facility down to lint trap logs.
Yeah.
Right. So I can go.
That's huge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's simple. It's a simple thing, but can get missed.
Sure.
So every detail of the facility, the lint trap logs and the checklist for, the crash car, the fire extinguisher, AEDs, all of the things that need to be checked. I have them labeled in an electronic file because it's 2026, guys. Let's get up to speed. So if, COO wants to go audit Park Manor of Conroe, they can just go from their own computer and click, and they're going to see every wound meeting that was done. They're going to see every lab that was drawn and check, right? And so that is a way for me to hold the facility accountable to all the things that you have to hold them accountable to on a daily basis versus just going and running behind a binder and saying, oh, did they do this? And then things get missed. Yep. So it's a faster process, right? And so it's managing the survey.
Give me a little insight on managing the survey process. I know you got great processes, great SOPs. Tell me about managing your survey process. What are some cool things that you did or that you would tell administrators to do to make them successful in the survey?
Okay, so when it comes to surveyors, first of all, people, like I just said, your friends want to do things for you. Yep. So you need to be nice to the surveyors. You may not agree with them, but you got to be nice to them.
Sure.
Right? So you have to manage that relationship starting from when they walk into the door. Hi, how are you? I'm Crystal. I'm the administrator. Nice to meet you. Right? Let me help you. Right? They go in. Here's the AC, remote. You can switch it up and down. Right? Whatever you would like. Yeah. Right? If you need anything, this is my office. Feel free to come in anytime you want. Right? So it's just a matter of developing that relationship. And then tip number 2 is you need to be as fast as you can be.
Yeah.
Do not waste 1 second. If they ask you for X document, my expectation is 10 minutes it's in their hand.
Yeah.
And I also go the extra step.
Is the reason for that because if it's taking longer, they're going to ask more questions?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're going to think that you're fudging something, you're doing this and that, and you're not prepared, right? Yeah. Like if you're not prepared, then you are not running a facility right.
Yeah.
So whenever I show up in there and they give me the list of tasks, I quickly disperse those. Hey, you do this, you do that. And my team knows I need to email that to her and I need to give her a printed copy. And so as soon it just flies like clockwork, right? Like my emails are popping and and they're just right here. And then I just quickly, so they just asked me for this stuff. And then within, an hour, even if it's, when I say like say it's a state survey, right? And you have all these things.
Yep.
You give me an hour and they're going to have every document they ask for.
As they should.
Just the optics of that screams, this is buttoned up. I don't have things to worry about. No, I mean, that's really smart.
Yeah. And what they tell me, like I've literally had surveyors say, I've never seen anyone this quick.
Yeah.
I have had them say, you should be a court document processor. I've had them say like all kinds of things to me that I'm like, just laugh. And I'm like, that's funny.
One tip that we did is that we knew when the surveyors were our annual survey, right? We knew like the 20 things that they were going to ask for.
Yeah.
What I would encourage any administrator listening to do is take that list and pre-do it. Mm-hmm. So what we did is I had HR do this one, dietary knew this one. And so as soon as they walked in the building, everyone already knew what to give them. And so we had it back in their hands.
So
20 minutes.
So what we do
really
is,
cool.
They would call this, they usually call this, where's your survey readiness binder, is what they call it,
so
right?
Good.
So we have a binder, but I don't just have it in the binder. Again, electronic, this is 2026. So all of those things are labeled and in a document. So that way when they come, and we keep that, so as soon as we go in our window, that month of staffing, that month of everything I know that they will ask for. So when they walk in the door, that's why it's so fast, because I already had everything prepared, planned. I just shoot it right to them, right? And then that frees you up as an administrator to run your survey.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the middle of the nurse's station. I'm not having to be behind the desk trying to
Yeah.
find documents.
Managing your survey process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure people are, and, there's a few, like I said, there's a lot of tips to it, but, you want to get your staff together. Hey, this is what they're here for full book. This is what's going to, so communicating to them what you're doing.
Yep.
And hey, this is the goal. This is what we're shooting for. Make sure you do X and Y, the things that you think that they may forget. Right?
Yeah.
So you've been in the long-term care space for a long time, but you've been an administrator for a relatively short time.
Yeah.
So who's one person and one story that you can really point to and go, that changed how I feel about leadership and that changed who I am as a leader?
Ooh, that's
Good
a good
question.
question.
Yeah.
A leader. Okay. Well, I know you mentioned Christian. So Christian, definitely, I admire him. I think that when he came into the facility, like he's always been, since he came.
He's a special person.
Yeah, he's cool guy. So, I mean, I really look up to him because he's been able to teach me things like, that I, challenged my thinking process, I should say.
Yeah.
And I like that. I don't want someone, I know how I tell him this is that I know I'm doing a good job, right? Like I can see that by numbers,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But that's not what I want to know because I know that. I want to know how can I do better? How can I
Sure.
improve? Like what are you seeing in me that's like not where it needs to be,
Yeah.
right?
So what are you working on?
And so, yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So,
It was a layup, but
oh yeah. So one of the things that I'm currently working on is, I want to eventually be able to, manage multi-site, right? As an administrator, that is your goal, right? Like you want to learn more, right? And so with that though, it is, there's a change in your mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like you, and one leader, you're hands-on, you're right there, right? So you have more control. So, that's something that for me, it's like I'm used to having all that control. So when you branch off and you're going to help out other facilities or you're going to be in charge of more, well, you have to shift that leadership mindset, right? Because you're not going to have as much control. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm trying to make sure I can shift in that way and not, mess everything up.
be a little less micro. Breathe life into these folks to do what you're doing today.
That's right.
Yeah. It's really challenging. Yeah. It's, did you listen to the Christian episode?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that he talked about, which I thought was really interesting, y'all talked about how you have certain people who are growing on the path of leadership. You're clearly one of them. And there are other people who don't do so well on promotions. And I'm sitting here thinking like, your building's going to have a hole when you go into the regional. I'm like, it's like, so how do you build people to then take that over so that Park Manor stays or elevates, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
well, I think again, that's what I've been working for since I started.
Yeah.
Like it's that, when I go on vacation and they're able to perform and do the things, right? And I say this all the time. I'm like, I'm so sad they don't need me no more. Like, like it's so, I don't like this. Like, I want to be needed. They don't need me, And it's hard for me because it's like, okay, well, I had all this opportunity to, and now it's like, oh, you don't need me. Like, I don't like.
It's a fulfilling prophecy. I mean, you do your best to train everybody up around you so that they can become everything that you've been. And then your ego goes, wait a minute, I don't need to be here. So it
sucks.
Fundamental growth problem, really. You just need to go into something new. You got to grow.
Yeah.
I think recognition is kind of two pieces, and I'll wrap up. I think recognition is so important, and I think in everyone's life. Chris Light did this specifically to me, so I'm gonna call it out. But he encouraged me last week, and he gave me some recognition that will like really energize me. I'm like, heck yeah, like I could run through a brick wall right now. And so he gave me that, and he didn't know how that made me feel, but it made me feel good. I can only imagine how we can impact the lives of the residents, but also the staff members that we serve just by being a positive encouragement and a light to them. What are some things that you are doing, and how does that tie into your purpose as an administrator?
So what do you mean? Like for the patients and the staff? What do you asking?
Staff specifically. I want to know what that. Like what type of positive acknowledgments are you doing for your staff that give them the validation to keep pressing and keep pressing forward?
Yeah. So for me, I take it real personal, I guess, because it's like, for me, it is personal. Like I can't love everybody. So I really take time to spend like one-on-one with a lot of people. And so they'll come in and it's like, we just engage, right? And we're like, hey, so what's this and what's that and what's your challenges and then we just like, it's like vulnerability. Like we just lay it all out. Right. And so, and I think that for me, it's like, I fill them up in a way that it's like, did you know that like, this is what you did? Like, can you believe it? And a lot of times they don't even know the impact they're making. So it's like, you have to be intentional and paying attention because I mean, I may have a family say, hey, so-and-so, they did so-and-so. And that's the person I appreciate. Now they're telling me all these other complaints, right?
Sure.
But that one person, they told me how great they did. So I always will say, hey, I want to talk to you. I just want you to know that so-and-so was like, they love you.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? Like, you did a great job. Like, they are loving you.
Dude, that acknowledgement goes so far. And I think as we, as just people inside the industry, love acknowledgement. But I don't want to underestimate the power of words and the power of love, the power of just a thank you or the power of recognition. I think that goes a really, really long way.
Oh, yeah. Like even my DON who just got a promotion to be a CSD, I mean, we would talk, we say we're two peas in a pod. Like we were just like, we would call each other, talk all day, every day. Like we were so connected. And so, and I'm pretty similar like that to my new DON who's stepping up, but it's just so like fulfilling because every time, like, I mean, I just would randomly like, just feel like, oh my God, I'm like, if I didn't have her, my life would be so hard.
Yeah.
I think about that.
Yeah.
And I'll just text her and I'm like, I just want you to know that I love you so much. And she'll just be like, I know, I love you too.
That is so funny. Like, that's the exact same thing Chris Light said to me the other day.
We're pretty similar, huh?
Word for word.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I love that. How funny.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
I don't think I used the L word.
You didn't say that? Aw.
You didn't tell me you love me, but I wish you would have.
He's like, that's what you meant. I know you meant it.
His wife would be so jealous.
Yeah, she would.
No, she hears it.
No, I mean, I do tell them I love them. I do, which sounds, I guess some people don't do that, but I'm emotional like that and I do love them.
I think that's super important.
That's great.
I think the same thing. I think that the word like love, I think that may not have been used in like in the olden days, but I feel like the more that you can share love and show love and actually just say like, hey, I love you. Like it's so important. Yeah. That means like the world to people. And I think that when you do that, you're fulfilling your purpose, right?
Yeah.
What is Crystal's purpose in long-term care right now as we see it? And how does it impact others?
Yeah. So my purpose is really to impact people in such a profound and like just great way that it just strikes this intrinsic motivation and this like intrinsic spark that makes them just like feel so fulfilled and happy and like they just want to do good and spread that love and that goodness to everyone they come in contact with. And every time when I see it in person, like I said, sometimes my staff is like, oh, I put on my crystal hat or like I pulled a crystal, they'll say things like that. And whenever they say that, that is what gives me the energy. Like, when I get that one little thank you, hey, you've really changed my life. I can't believe like this is what happened. That fuels me, that serves my purpose. Yeah. And every time I'm like, it just melts my heart. Like, and I'm like, oh, I did my job. I did my job today.
Well, you've been a light to us today. Yes. It's been so great to sit down and kind of know more who Crystal is and her purpose and the wonderful job that you're doing inside your facility. I commend you. Like it's nice to hear young folks energized, feeling positive about long-term care, but also so driven, level-headed, and determined to make a positive impact in the lives that we serve. So it's been a pleasure and honor to sit down and chat with you today.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for
having me.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Crystal. That was a really good episode. Thank you for being here today, Crystal. Thanks for sharing all your insight and your light with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Our Purpose Podcast. Thanks for listening. See you.